you're Nigerian. You look South African.
You're Nigeria.
I've told you that before. Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Niger Delta Today. And we'll be bringing you issues bordering on the House of Representatives' commencement of hearing on the upward review of the 13% derivation fund. And then we'll move on to Edo State to bring you updates with regards to the activities of the Transition Committee. And thereafter, we look at the conclusion of the three-day 2025 budget review and modification of the budget in Akwa Ibom State. There's also a special report on the indiscriminate felling of ogbono trees in the forest of Bayelsa. Do stay with us. We'll bring you all of this right after this break.
Of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues. It is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Back to Niger Delta today. Well, let's start with the news from the House of Representatives, where 9 members of the House are seeking an amendment of Section 160 to subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution, aiming to increase the revenue derivation formula for state and regions producing mineral resources from 30% to 50%. And the bill sponsored by Mr. Waji Inambek Abiante and 8 other members of the House came up for second reading, but was later deferred to Tuesday, October 29, 2024, for continuation of debate to allow members have first-hand knowledge of the bill. The bill seeks to alter Section 162, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution by deleting the words "not less than 13% and inserting "not less than 50%. While leading debate on Wednesday, Abiante said that 13% is insufficient to address the significant environmental and infrastructural damages caused by resource extraction. The derivation principle states that if natural resources in any state is exploited and it yields revenue, then a certain percentage of that revenue should be given back to that state, while the rest would accrue to the Federation account to be enjoyed by other states. The derivation fund is paid to state on a monthly basis to assist all producing communities in combating environmental pollution and degradation, including the provision of basic amenities. Although the derivation principle was not designed originally for the Niger Delta, its association with the region is based on the fact that oil and gas industry contributes about 90% of the nation's revenue. The utilization of these funds have, however, been trailed by controversies. On one hand is the clamor of an upward review of the fund. On the other hand are issues surrounding the utilization of these funds. Let's take a look at this video.
Sat down there and you have referred several alterations to the Nigerian Constitution, to the Constitutional Review. So if Abiante is being singled out today, it goes to show that whatever we are saying and doing here is of no consequence, of no effect.
This is not the case.
Mr. Speaker, please, sir. You asked me to expatiate. The portion that I have only requested to be altered is to look at the principles of derivation. We have even passed a part of what I am asking for. In this same house today, on bill number 9, it talks about derivation principles. Is it about
the subject matters are different?
They are the same subject matter.
You should not. I don't want you to be sentimental. Honorable Abiante, please sit down.
Mr. Speaker, I'm requesting an alteration to the derivation.
Sit down, please.
Section 162(2) that he's referring to, because in my opinion, and I'm sure in the opinion of many seated here, is a well-crafted section that is meant to protect the unity and diversity of Nigeria.
We need to know under which principles would they want to amend Section 162, subsection 2 of the Constitution. We need to know the principles behind that. They need to break it down. Let us know the rationale, because we don't have the bill.
If law is passed, Mr. Speaker, it will encourage states to go into the full development of these natural resources to the benefit of the state, having in mind the revenue derivation,
these members do not have enough information. And you are supposed to also present ordinarily a write-up to circulate to members for them to see X, Y, Z of the whole thing. Have you circulated to members? Members have not been given, so they are not adequately equipped to comment on this. Nothing will happen to a bill. We'll just give a little more time for members now that they are aware of this particular request from you to go through, and then on Tuesday, we'll resume debate on this particular matter.
Well, joining us to give us a proper understanding of the issues with the 13% derivation fund is oil and gas expert, Mr. Samuel Okpaworoki, is here in the studio with us. You're welcome, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for having me.
joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you, viewers. It's a pleasure being here once again.
All right, Mr. Okpaworoki, some members of the House of Representatives are seeking for an amendment. I know that before now there has been a clamor for an upward review of the 13% derivation fund to all producing state. What do you make of this development? Do you think it's the right thing to do right now?
It's actually coming very late. This should have been done very long time ago, because we must tell ourselves the truth. The constitution we are running today is not the constitution of Nigeria. Was crafted and knocked like baby carpenters by the military. We had a constitution when this country was created. And let's remember that by the time this country was created, the people that were involved sat down together. It was something that everybody from every section of the country sat down and crafted and brought it out. That is the only constitution today we can say we the people. But this one that was done by the military, just like one or two people sat down and crafted something to benefit from to benefit their area. That's the truth. So this bill that is coming now actually is coming very late, because the devastation that we've had, the complete wrecking of the area that called Niger Delta has gone so far that to be able to turn back the hand of the clock, even when this bill is approved, would be a very Herculean task. Okay. Would be a very, very Herculean task. Oh. So this bill is very, very right. You know, like I said, it's coming late, but it's better late than never.
Okay, Mr. Samuel, there are many that believe that it shouldn't just move to 50% immediately. It should be a gradual process. Maybe probably start with 25.
Why?
Before getting to 50%.
The question is the devastation gradual? If you say we want to move gradually, then it means that the devastation has been gradual. But already there are a whole lot of areas that the people have totally lost their livelihood completely. There are areas you can't even take a bath in your area. So what is it about? So it is actually we need a very strong move towards being able to salvage the Niger Delta. In fact, 50% is not enough. Okay. Honestly, 50% is not enough.
Okay, so stating that 50% is not enough.
Yes.
You're talking about people who have lost livelihoods and all
Exactly.
of that. Now, this money, is it just to compensate for the loss of livelihoods, farmlands, and all of that? Is there going to be any form of cleanups tied to this money?
It's part of what should come with it. Money.
So the 13%, what has been done with the 13% so far?
No, you see, the 13% in the first place wasn't enough. You see, you couldn't put that money to clean up. If you put that money to clean up, if you are in the industry, that money cannot do anything for clean up. The amount of spillages that we've had, it cannot do anything. So it was now left. Now, if you watch the industry, the people that would have handled the cleanups were the companies that were drilling the IOCs. They wonder, but they always would go to court. They would always contest. I mean, it is the height of wickedness for these IOCs that are taking everything. It was actually the plot of the white man. That was what they had structured to make sure that the black man does not benefit benefit from anything that comes from his area. When we say we had independence, they just crafted some things, and you see, our leaders then were not as exposed as some people are now. To have maybe refused some clauses that were put in those. Nigeria is even a bit better off. There are some countries. Look at the French countries. They are still in the aprons of France till today, except the ones that have now broken out, which is a step in the right direction. That Africa must break up. So that money would not have been enough. I know that there have been a lot of mismanagement. If we want to go to that, there has been a lot of mismanagement by the people that were given custody
of the money
and administration of these monies.
Yeah. Okay.
The different governors, particularly, and there have also been some level of cheating. Cheating in the sense that if you give the 10% derivation to the states, you should also give the 10% derivation to the places where this oil is coming from. Are you following me? So for me, even this bill should be able to state and make it that whatever is given to the state, that percentage must go to the areas where this oil is drilled from. I'm talking where maybe we have oil caps, oil wells capped since from the war in my place. So I wouldn't say I'm from an oil producing area, but fair must be fair. So if you are bringing money, and even till today, some of the areas where this oil is coming from are still devastated, even with the 10%, because there was no law made that compelled the governors who collected this money to be able to focus on these areas. These are the chicks that are laying the golden eggs, and yet you can compare that with what is happening in our area. We don't have roads. We don't have federal roads. It took somebody to go from. He was going back to Cameroon to go by road. It took him 5 hours. 5 hours to go from here to Udukbani Junction. So, and then it took him the same time to go from Udukbani Junction to come. I mean, what do you make of that? So, we've been marginalized because even the federal government doesn't care a hoot about what's happening here. They don't. I mean, I say it very, very plainly. Look at the East-West Road. We've been struggling. I was a consultant to the Jigawa state government for 3 years when Samuni Tragi was governor. I was there. And I can tell you, the roads in the north are something that we should envy. But yet, the money comes from here.
The present government is fast-tracking the process.
Well, let's see.
Let the rents get.
Yeah, no. I'm telling you, I will be honest here. I'm actually surprised. I didn't expect, that much. But a lot is being done for now. But I'm talking of the past, what has been happening. So it's very important that the bill to capture certain areas that will benefit the communities where these oils are coming from.
Okay, but with the passage of the bill, second reading, it goes to show that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
It looks like so.
Now, this 50%, as an expert, we know, or you should tell us,
yes,
the cleanup, coastline protection, and all that is capital intensive.
Heavy.
This 50% now, is it okay for community compensation and cleanups if approved?
You see, even like I said, even with the 50%, the federal government will still have to. The oil companies must be railroaded because they want to take all the profit. The oil companies want to railroad. Maybe some of these things are even in this country things that are brought, but they don't want to. They look for every loophole. Okay. So we are not going to focus on just using most of, because if you want to use it for cleanup, most of that money is going to be gone. Okay? Yes, a section of it, a portion of it could be allotted as part of cleanup for every area, but the IOCs must be compelled to do what actually they ought to do. Would this take place in their place? It would not. It would never happen.
Okay, so but the oil still need to continue their business. So this re-eroded thing you talked about, it's making the matter worse. But what would you have these companies do in order to avoid this re-erosion?
You see, one, are they running according to the best practices of the industry? The Nigerian case is a sad case. Let me tell you why I'm saying so. Because, sorry, my people they get on here, what you don't understand is that you let you die from sleeping. Now, what has happened is that you have who runs the oil sector? NPCL. And for me, it's one of the most corrupt bodies in the country. One of the most corrupt bodies in the country. Why am I saying so? Before now, it's the same group of people that were there when pipes were run into the sea and ships as big as 10,000 tons, 50,000 tons were coming into load. And then because I had said it before, I think maybe on the radio, it was only until we made the company upside that discovered, it's like Mongo Park discovered Africa. Africa had been there, Mongo Park when they discovered it. The pipes had been there. Then suddenly they now started discovering the pipes. So what I'm telling you, the issue is that until we do something about the regulatory body, the body that is raised by government to take care of the oil industry, we will still be running around in circles.
Right, Dr. Samuel, this is not the first time a bill seeking for an up review of the derivation fund is being presented before the House.
Okay.
So this time around, what do you think should be done to ensure that this bill actually sees the light of day? Because you need a certain number of people to ensure that this bill will see the light of day.
Let me tell you why. Now, when there was something I read on that bill, that when the agenda was presented, he told me, said, listen, this is not just for today. We are looking at the holistic way of it. And you see, one thing that we don't know, to tell you why sometimes I feel that we've been done, that the amount of natural resources the North has and other parts of the country, if you bring them in, honestly, oil, it will become a minuscule. I told you, before I became the media consultant to the Jigawa state government, and Jigawa. But it was that supplement immediately Turaki read it, he appointed me as his consultant because he was really under siege then. Yobe has the best quality of sand that can produce glasses, mirrors, and things like that for the next 100 years in this country. I did a write-up. I went around the different minerals, gold, gypsum. Yes, we are so rich that why is it that it's only oil that they took out? So the people that will fight this bill, if somebody comes down tomorrow and is able to integrate, why are we having Boko Haram? Why don't we tell ourselves the truth? Zamfara has minerals. That's actually why the war is there. They're doing that so that they can be extracting the minerals. It's not. So what are we talking about? So if the country is rearranged appropriately, and people know that area, they are volume of gold. And the way they're doing oil, government goes in and make sure that they give the licenses, not the state government, because they should allow the state government in the governors in the south, in the oil areas, give licenses for drilling. So if they are not allowing us here to give licenses, then the federal government should take over all the licenses in every area. If you do that, you'll be shocked that Nigeria is not. If we are not even poor, honestly, we are so rich, it will stun you. The volumes, the deposits
of what we have. Do you know that even in our Bible, we have deposits of the kind of care that they used to make place at a very high level, but nobody's doing anything about it.
Untapped resources.
Yes, untapped resources. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is that the people, I'm sure that for me, I believe that that struck a chord. That struck a chord with some of the people.
Of course.
Okay? That we brought this bill today. Tomorrow, after all, even Nigeria is moving away from oil. The CNG buses. You know? So very soon we become the laughing stock of the nation because we were taking and taking and taking, nobody was reserving anything. Thank God for this this new governor who is trying to now put in place what Okonjo-Iweala was trying to ask the country to do, to put aside something, because one day the rainy day will come. So I believe that there's always a time for everything. One is by that question, I want you to realize that at the point in this country, we move the north as a block. It's not really like that anymore. It's not really like that anymore. So people are not starting to say, no, we can decide for ourselves.
What will benefit even the north at the end of the
Exactly.
day, because we have other natural resources.
Exactly. This
But
bill
the
will
north,
benefit
but the
them.
north, the south.
This bill is not just for oil. This bill, that was why when the country was given independence, the people there knew that every area of this country had something to offer. That's why they said take 50% and use 50% for the federal government. But because some, a section of people felt that they had a right to rule, just carry this, and then we must get out of this constitution to be able for this country to move forward.
Okay. Sir, now talking about the Niger Delta, keeping something aside, like you put it. Now, the NNPC, like you mentioned, they said they have their own lapses. Now, we have some people who are in charge of the checks and balances, like the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, and all of that. Is it possible now to properly guide the NNPC to call these IOCs back to the drawing table? Because you made mention of the fact that their drilling processes might not be in accordance with global best practice. So
Right.
will that help in any way?
If the regulatory bodies will be ready to do their work. You see, it's like telling me Nigeria is lawless. Nigeria is not lawless. The laws are not being enforced. Okay? I just got into the US that evening, and we took off with my brother driving from Charlotte to Chattanooga in the night. And we are chatting, and he forgets that the speed limit, he's excited, I just arrived and the speed limit, and then there we just saw the light. No siren. We just saw the light of the police van, and you must clear. Here, if they see the light, they will take off.
Normal.
Are you following? Normal. Yes, they will take off. Now, what happens is we must put in place certain things. For example, my brother became worried, not because he was booked, but because there's a clause that when you are booked for speeding, when you go for your insurance the next year, the premium shoots up. That was, in fact, he begged this guy, but the guy was professional. He came, saw that we were, we're not, first of all, he had his gun, but when he saw that we were harmless people, he was smiling, he was writing the ticket. He was smilingly writing the ticket. And when we drove up, honestly, I don't think my brother said any other thing until we got to
The officer was firm and polite.
that his insurance. Now, we must be able to do that here. For those bodies to work, they should be able to bring professor, doctor, somebody who is high up there and send him to jail. Okay. They must be able to bring an allergy, somebody who has been maybe even a president, and send him to jail. Yes. Okay. No, that's true. You see, I've read, I think recently, is it Algeria? So a president, an ex-president, they won't be able to do it to a sitting president. An ex-president was sent to jail recently in other countries. So until there are deterrents, we have the laws that should actually have put these people, if they are enforced. We don't need new laws.
Okay.
We have the laws, it's just to enforce it.
There's a man that left DPR called Arome Osai. Please, you need to listen to that man. He was a righteous man. They even tried to kill him because he was not playing ball. So, will we have people that will not play ball, that you send them to go and monitor a vessel, the loading? I can tell you almost for free that there's almost no vessel loaded in Nigeria that loads the capacity of what is written on that paper from NNPC.
Wow.
It's always overloaded. I can tell you that for free. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I was a general manager. I ran a bunkering license in this country. I was general manager of Gate Oil Petroleum. And I started the Iteo's tank farm in Port Harcourt.
And you have evidence to that?
That I was there. Yes, I can show you.
No, that the vessels are usually overloaded. That's what she meant.
No, okay, let me tell you something. when you overloaded what you brought, and you have another like 3,000, 5,000 metric tons to sell, where did it come from? You want me to, what evidence? Why?
Okay.
All right.
So
I like the part where you said your brother was looking at the consequence, the future consequence of his action.
Exactly.
So it means our enforcement should have ripple effects.
Exactly. Listen to me.
Because some people will just pay for fines and get away with the instant punishment. But when you think of the future, you lose something in the future.
You know, the road safety did something. In Lagos, it's still enforced. That's why people here are not really afraid of road safety. They can see them, they give some, especially the you give them, some of them something. But in Lagos, if you know Lagos enough, if they catch you in Lekki, they will send you to like Prayer City to go and pay your fine.
Outskirts of Lagos.
Yes, you think of coming from Lekki to go. They did such thing that, and then they had introduced this psychiatric test and so on. So everybody in Lagos, in fact, changing of lanes anyhow is a crime. It's a crime all over the world. But you see here, no, nobody even knows.
It is a crime.
See them just going one.
You have to correct somebody, and then he insults you. We have, God will really have mercy on us.
All right, Dr. Samuel said, God will really have mercy on us. Let's put a pause on the conversation here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming around.
We appreciate
your
time on the
interesting
program.
time with you.
Thank you very much. I have too much stuff here.
All right. All right, let's go on a short break. We will be right back. Don't go away.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Thank you so very much for staying tuned to the program Niger Delta today on ADBN television. And now we're moving on to some political issues. especially in Edo State, where election is done and dusted, but the transition process seems to be encountering deadlocks as the Edo State Joint Transition Committee meeting, scheduled for Tuesday, was delayed due to disagreements over the provision of critical documents necessary for the session. The committee, which comprises members of the outgoing Governor Godwin Obaseki's administration and the team of Governor-elect Senator Monday Okpewo, failed to convene as expected. Only a handful of secretariat staff from Obaseki's team were seen at the venue, while the All Progressives Congress APC transition team members were notably absent. Meanwhile, the Edo State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, in a statement issued by the APC Transition Committee Secretary, Barrister Patrick Ikariale, defended their actions, accusing the outgoing People's Democratic Party government of hindering the process. And shortly after, the Edo State government on Wednesday accused the incoming government and members of the All Progressives Congress APC Transition Committee of raising false alarm, accusing them of alleged refusal to attend committee meetings. A member of the Joint Transition Committee and the State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehihari, said the APC Transition Committee had from the onset of her inauguration shown disdain to work with the state government committee members. Let's take a look at this clip and we'll come back to you.
The issue is that we have had a series of discussions with the Transition Committee on the side of the outgoing government. We did make our position very clear. We wrote to request for certain documents from them that will enable us to have a meaningful and informed meetings and deliberations and discussions, as the case may be. Unfortunately, the nature of documents that we have been supplied with has not addressed any of the issues that we wanted them to address. And we have had interface, both verbal and written, with the relevant officers of government, including the SSG. And we reached an agreement as at yesterday that they were going to do exactly what we asked for, because what they have supplied us at best has not addressed the issue substantially in any form.
They can choose to come, they can choose not to come. But what we will not tolerate and what we will not take is when they say we are hiding something. This government has received countless awards on transparency, on procurement, from not just the World Bank, but from all majority and reputable financial institutions across the world. As we speak now, Mr. Governor is in Washington, D.C., being a guest lecturer from the World Bank, talking about the impact of Edo State's education in the last 6 years, especially the Edo Best. And these things are not by error or by coincidence. It's from careful planning and strategic thinking, transparent in whatever we do, so that as we go out, Edo people know that this is what was done by the Governor Obaseki government. And then the incoming government takes it from there, or they can go ahead and destroy or amend or repair or...
Now, while the electoral process was hitchy, the transmission process is also hitchy. Yeah. But they fail to understand that a smooth transition is actually key to stability and continuity. Because with all of this that is going on, it has consequences. We're talking about non-transparency, not providing documents that are necessary for these people to convene, and you're saying they are not convening. So we're hearing a different thing from the APC, we're hearing a different thing from the PDP, and it's beginning to feel like we do not want to hand over. I don't want to say that, but that's how it's beginning to feel, like they do not want to hand over.
Of course, they're going to hand over at the end of the day.
They just have to. An election was conducted. So whatever issues or discrepancies should be sorted out when you get to the courts, and then those issues should be sorted. I was actually impressed when the state governor, Governor Obaseki, said that the APC should set up their own team. They have their own team. They should come to the table. Let's see how we can transit, without hitches, and ensure that we hand over properly. I just pray that this issue should be neat in the board. Whatever the issues, if there's any document that is needed, the other party should provide to ensure that there is a smooth transition, at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, it's
peaceful Edo that we are looking for.
Yeah.
Even if those documents are not presented, the election has been conducted. We have a governor-elect who is going to be sworn in. And once he's sworn in, probably they should also be patient. Once, whatever documents you need, you can still get it once you get to your office.
But you need
as a
proper understanding of government affairs. So before you're swearing in, you should have a good grasp of what has been on ground. And the secretary to the outgoing government, Joseph Igbegbe, he had said they would provide whatever document necessary, e-copies and hard copies. So why the issue of request for hard copy is becoming a thing? Before you know it, this government is going to start, if there's any mismanagement, and you start having this blame game. Oh, we didn't have this document before we commence. We didn't have, and before you know, governance will be disrupted. And this is going to fall back on the Edo people. The people are the ones that always suffer.
At the end of the day.
So they should just make this thing done and over with so that people can live on with their lives.
All right, as always, let's go to Akwa Ibom State where, let's head to Akwa Ibom where the state government has announced plans to create a more achievable 2025 budget estimate by replacing the initial proposal. And this decision was the outcome of the 3-day budget review by the State Executive Council addressing newsmen on the final day of the expanded ministerial budget review held at Ibom Icon Hotel and Golf Resort in Uyo and presided over by the State Governor Pastor Moino. The Commissioner for Information, Comrade Inimemebong, noted that this approach aims to enhance governance in the state by promoting transparency and accountability, while stressing it must align with its administration's ARISE agenda.
At the end of it, we have a workable estimate which would now be reworked by the Department of the Budget Office. And so a more realistic budget, a more doable budget for government will come up, which would now be submitted again to the Executive Council for approval before being presented to the House of Assembly by His Excellency the Governor. He has reiterated that this is done in pursuit of excellent project delivery, which must tell on the fortunes of our people.
He emphasized the importance of inter-ministerial awareness during the budget review session aimed at ensuring that each ministry is aware of development across other sectors. And these collaborative approaches, we believe, will promote coordination and collaboration among other ministries in the state public service.
And where amendments were needed, everyone participated in it. And what this has done is that every single person who participated in this session can speak about the entirety of government. And so the pigeonhole approach to governance, where people are just knowledgeable or concerned about their sector, has been collapsed completely with a flat structure where everyone can see what is on the table.
Comrade Mebong further announced that the state government will pay its employees a minimum wage of 80,000 naira, and to ensure a smooth implementation, he disclosed that the governor has established a 15-member committee led by the state head of civil service, Elder Effiong Essien, to analyze the implementation of the wage.
Recall that the federal government had announced its own, and the state has gone above that to say that in Akwa Ibom State, the governor has announced that in Akwa Ibom State, 80,000 will be the minimum wage. Having said so, he's also inaugurated the committee, which will analyze and ensure the implementation, because there are consequential adjustments that need to be done. And that committee has a month, headed by the head of civil service, has a month within which to submit their report. That committee has members of government, members of the labor unions, members of the joint service negotiation.
Emergencies or new realities. You know, sometimes people just put things in place. They don't want to know how well it's going to work. It's going to make the government efficient. They're going to be responsive. Like something there are certain things you do not actually plan for. Yeah. So when those things come up, how do you tackle them? Because you have a laid down blueprint, your straight jacket and all of that. No. This kind of things makes you respond to whatever comes your way, and you do it efficiently, and you get commendation of the people. On I think we'll be bringing you something different as in Bayelsa State, environmental experts have raised concerns over the gradual extinction of the African mango, popularly known as ogbono. For those of you who like gooey soup, I think this might interest you. So from the forest in Bayelsa State and the Niger Delta at large, a lot of people have been complaining that these trees are being cut indiscriminately. According to them, increase in greenhouse gas emission with the attendant consequences of soil erosion and massive flooding are other issues plaguing this species. ADBN correspondent Achino Temple brings us up to speed on this.
One could hear from afar sound of sawing machines in and around the forest of Bayelsa State. While the lumberjack and the operators smile to the banks, the forests suffer many effects which in short term result in soil erosion, flood and depletion of the ozone layer with increase in the greenhouse gases.
We have this very sad phenomenon of indiscriminate felling of trees. Not only the normal rainforest trees, but they have now gone into the decimation of our mangrove forest. Technology is good, but this felling without the control, effective control of government, has made them to take undue advantage of the technology of this motor saw. In those days when our people were using axe and machete to fell trees, it will be difficult for you to fell 3 trees a day. But today, because of the motor saw technology, you hear it sounding everywhere in our forest, bringing down the trees in their numbers. We have truckloads of this timber leaving Bayelsa, even parts of Delta State. Kayama is not spared. It's one of the worst places where this is being taking place. You go to the Biseni axis, the Okodia axis, you go to the Ogbea houses, you go to Southern Niger, everywhere, truckloads, every day loading and going out.
Okay. I think this means what the chieftain is saying is modernization is a blessing and a curse. Okay. Because truly, if you were to use an axe to fell a tree, in 3 days, you will not be able to fell more than one, depending on the size. But with these motor saws and everything, truckloads leaving these communities every day. That is terrible.
So, well, let's put a pause on the conversation here because we'll be heading to the FCT where we're having a live broadcast. Please bear with us.
ADBN, Advocate Broadcasting Network.